Hey guys, doing something a little bit different today. I know I don't normally do these because, well, for the most part, I just don't think I have the confidence to really say anything that interesting about the topic of the meta. There's a lot to analyze, there's a lot to look into, there's a lot to think about, and honestly, a lot of times I don't have the patience, and I just don't really find myself able to come up with anything that different. At least not compared to guys like MCole40 or Jonathan Moore or Simo, who spend a lot of time analyzing the meta and seem to be able to just find a lot more to say than I can. I don't want to say anything unless I feel like I'm adding to the conversation about something. But I think I found something because it's something that's been gnawing at me since last Monday. And I think that it's finally time to talk about it. And before I go any further, I don't want to discredit anyone. I don't want to badmouth anyone. I don't want to put anyone down. I don't mean to say anything bad about Jeff Jones. I don't want to say anything bad about the Yugi tubers who are hyping this deck. And I don't want to say anything bad about this deck. I love this archetype. I love this deck. But I kind of feel like Magician Pendulums are a little overhyped and are maybe not as good as people are thinking they are. And I want to see, is anyone else thinking this, or am I alone here? Because I played it at my locals, and I played it at the OTS yesterday, and fine. I wasn't super impressed by the deck. I think we had another one top in my OTS yesterday, but I didn't see anything we were necessarily doing differently, but I noticed the flaws of the deck seem to stay. And I think the deck is good, but I do think it has some flaws, and I think these flaws kind of hurt it a lot. First and foremost, this is the kind of deck where you need to open right. And obviously one could be like, well, any deck you need a good opening hand. Well, this is the kind of deck to where if you don't open right, you're in trouble. Like, the thing is, you need to open things to pop your scales. You need to open things to search. You need to open things to be able to summon. And that doesn't seem like a ton until it's practice time. And you don't open anything to blow up your double iris, and you don't open anything to trigger your pendulum graphs, and you open the things you don't want to see in an opening hand, like a pendulum sorcerer or an oath dragon. And I feel like that is kind of a problem with this deck, is that I feel as though it just doesn't seem to be able to do as much as I think it should. First and foremost, that extra deck limitation really hurts it. And I'm not talking about your pendulum summon. Your pendulum summon is actually fine. It really hasn't been affected that much. Because the thing is, traditionally, you rely on the harmonizing anyways. You do add back resources with Oath. You do really only need to special summon one from the extra deck. It's really not changed that much. The problem is what you do with it afterwards. Like, the thing is that I can make an Omega, I can make an Ignister, I can make a Time Star, I can make a Tornado Dragon. I can't do anything with really anything else. And what I feel like happens is that you're very reliant on Omega. So if that thing gets warninged or striked, you're kind of dead. The thing is that your extra monster zone gets filled quickly, and you can't do anything else after that. Like, I had one matchup, I had to make the Beals, but then I just couldn't make anything else. Like, I kept summoning a bunch of little guys, but what are they really going to do? Like, Beals can get over a lot, but that card is not invincible. That card has easy exploitable weaknesses, such as effect negation, the fact that it can be targeted. Like, there's just all these sort of things with it, and I just want to put this out there. Am I the only one who kind of thinks this deck is sort of being put on this pedestal? Now, I played the Jeff Jones build. I made a couple little alterations. I didn't main deck 3 Wavering Eyes. I only had 1 Ash Blossom. And I'll say this, the stuff that worked for him definitely does work very well when you can get it off, but I didn't really feel like I was doing necessarily that much better than I would have with anything else. And I'm looking at some of these wins, and I'm starting to get this feeling that Magician Pendulums, their best matchup is themselves. Like, because the thing is that when you face anything else. You know, Paleo, the deck has a pretty good Paleo matchup. But the thing is that when you face anything else, you're dealing with the fact that those decks have figured out how to deal with the things put in place. True Draco doesn't care about the extra deck much, although now they can main deck things like Force Focus for effect negation. Paleo, they can make Miss Starboy no problem. What else is there? Please tell me you guys are getting my point here. Pendulum Magicians are the only ones that really can't make those huge boards, and when up against control decks like True Draco or even Paleo that can just keep popping scales or have the room to side in a lot of like outs, it's kind of a problem, and this deck can be outed very easily. Things like D-Barrier, Anti-Spell, Cosmic Cyclone, these are common side cards, and the thing is, once Jeff Jones won that UDS, everyone immediately dusted off their anti-spells, and everyone put in their pendulum sides, because pendulums are very easy to side against. Like, I just feel as though it is a powerful deck, but there's so many factors around it that kind of hurt it. But the thing is, the mirror match, which it seems like Jeff played a lot of against, and again, I'm not trying to discredit Jeff Jones. He's an amazing player. Great player. I mean, again, he worked out how to make Magicians probably the best they'll ever be nowadays. But he played a lot of Magician matches, and, you know, the deck can very easily deal with the mirror. And so a player who is just naturally very powerful, like Jeff Jones, I think could just overtake people a lot. But, again, I'm not trying to discredit anyone. I just sort of feel that the deck maybe isn't as strong as anyone's saying it is, and I'm really afraid people are going to feel very down because they couldn't get the deck to work for them very well, and I think it's a deck that's very much has a lot of RNG to it. But that kind of brings me up to another point. A lot of decks this format, I think, have that problem. Paleo needs time to set up. True Draco can also brick and can have trouble dealing with stuff. So, you know what? I know this is going to sound strange, but whatever silly, stupid idea you have for the next couple of weeks, do it. Like, once Spirals come out, we're all going to have to buckle down and be serious again, but for the time being, I think you can get away with just kind of playing fun, silly stuff and still do pretty good against the top-tier stuff. Like, the top-tier stuff has some easy outs. Again, True Draco, Spell and Trap removal. Paleo, also Spell and Trap removal. But I guess basically what I'm just saying is I just wanted to put this out there that I don't think the deck is nearly as insanely powerful as anyone thinks. I mainly think it was kind of just the right place at the right time. It is powerful, and I do still like it, and I'll be playing it on and off, especially as I get closer to events, because we pretty much know what our meta is going to look like from now till January when the next regional I can go to is. So until then, I want to know in the comment section below, do you guys see where I'm coming from? Do you guys agree with me? Or do you think I'm just an idiot scrub who just couldn't play the deck right? I think I did about as fine with the deck as possible. But tell me that in the comment section below, and as always, click the like, click the subscribe, and we'll see how the meta develops.